Hi, Martin.
Hi. I have to adjust my window. So, Charlene, any last minute updates? Or are you already live?
No update.
Okay.
Yeah. No update.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so we maybe do some warm-up talk, maybe about the latest tech. Did you see the
Which one?
Cream again?
Oh, okay.
I didn't look today. I just did see yesterday what's happening, and then the hacker dumped the token. Some of them just sold.
That project should disappear a long time ago.
Yeah, it's strange. You know, they had like several hacks, and yeah, I was myself. I was like, I'm not on. You don't use Cream, but I have stuff on Yearn. And so I was worried a little bit because, you know, Yearn, I think they copied some of the code. I don't know. They have some partnership. I think maybe part of the Iron Bank it's code or it's related to Cream. So yeah, it's bad sometimes. You know, this one is really a big one. I think the attackers got a lot of the. I don't know if they got all or everything, but most of it. And I sometimes really fear one of these. You know, if really a big project loses all his money, then I guess we have it wouldn't be a nice event. Hopefully, it never happened. But it could, you know. Sometimes I have the feeling, we have been lucky. Somehow, because if one of the big projects going down, then it will make a lot of waves. Yeah. So we wait. I guess some more minutes. Yeah, now maybe more. That's what's going on the contributor side to update. So I started to do like daily meetups with two of the contributors, and this is Paul P, who makes a community and Discord, runs community in Discord. He has presented a strategy yesterday in the contributors call, how we should what different channels we should communicate, and he also is working on a narrative for fits or in the changing economic model we are now working on. He just post a doc where he tries to, he's looking for a narrative he can bring out there, because I guess the narrative is a little bit changing, and it's good to see it from a storytelling side somehow. And yeah, it has been quite interesting. Calls normally the daily call should be like a contributors daily call, and only like a stand-up call, you know, just everyone just for a short sync. And but as we had many stuff to discuss, we discussed about tokenomics and also different stuff, and we had floating around many ideas. What I also like is that the forum now, I guess we are able to generate much more visibility, because the forum starts to be people posting stuff. And in fact, I would like to give more feedback, but I don't find the time to do this kind of feedback stuff, because, you know, I think if you think about the economic model, most of them most of the ideas have something you can pick and maybe extend and discuss and find a better solution. So I know normally we have been much more people on the call. We are 10. I don't see everyone. Shall we start? I guess yes. So normally, okay, so this is the Boule research call, I guess the 4th. Today it's the 20th of October. I myself will present the project. I will present Badger, and Sid will present Rari Capital. But first, I going to update what has been talked and what's going on the more organizational things. So we have four things. I try to go from the simple to the more complex stuff. So the feedback from Sid, who is on the call, is also presenting a project that we should change tokenomics, and I guess it's like a no-brainer because not tokenomics, sorry, the voting system, because now if you only can vote 4 times a month, then you have to in a way keep your votes up till the project comes you like somehow, and so we are going to change this. So after for the next votes, it's recommended to vote for every project. So you can have 8 votes. You just vote up and down. And I came with the idea, maybe I think this makes sense too, that we introduce like a neutral vote. And the neutral vote, it's more that we see who votes. And I think myself, there are sometimes there are projects which you are undecided either, or you think you don't know if it's so you didn't have time to research. What's not a very good idea then. But normally you should also vote possible to vote neutral. But this neutral vote will not be counted as for the reward. But it's just that people can vote like an I vote, and if you don't know, then you vote neutral, because I guess the tendency is that if you don't really know about the project, then you vote just with the majority, and this is somehow a fake signal we, I guess, want to avoid. So because this is like there's a forum entry for this. If you look at the Boule members only chat on the Discord, there's a link to the forum entry, and Gary just made also will make I guess it next minutes, or he pinged me, so I have to check that we vote about this. Yeah, he say it will go live in 10 minutes. So we vote about the Boule members are asked to vote about this change on Snapshot, and it's going live in 10 minutes. And the thing is why we do this is that I guess the Boule members themselves should also it's easy because we all agree. So it's kind of coming into the use that we also vote about stuff we do or change. So this is about the voting. Then about the other thing is, so I missed somehow after last call going and asking people for the next research call. So I started just on Monday getting people for this call, and somehow it was like on short notice, and I struggled somehow. And so we were thinking out how we can incentivize this, and we came to the conclusion that we will, normally everyone is like paid after 3 months in a 3-month cycle. So now we decided that the sign-up bonus you got somehow, but you didn't get access to the token. So we do it like this. So the sign-up bonus will, if you represent your project, you will get access to you will be sent the already vested token. No, or vested token, it's the wrong term. The token with access at this time, and you will send the Aladdin tokens to you. So the earlier you access you present, the earlier you will get tokens. And there are 2 reasons why we do this. One is that we want really, I think we all did some work or a lot of work, some of the Boule members, and I think for a feeling of ownership, it's important to get tokens into the Boule members' hand. This is one of the reasons. The other reason is that we incentivize that people are eager to be on the call and do the presentation. So there's a link. In fact, people can self-list. There's a Notion link in the Discord. People can access Discord and self-list them on the right board if they and pick a date, or you can message me and I will manage this operation. So And the next thing is about the project we already voted about or integrated about or are going to integrate. So the good thing is that Convex, which we will list soon Convex, and it will be the first one, I guess. And what we will do, and this is the tokenomics update I will talk later, we will retroactively give an airdrop for this because we are going to change stuff and doesn't make sense to give out token in the old system because we will have a new system. So we make then a airdrop, or we will reward the pool and in retrospectively. So Convex will be the first one. And then the thing is, we had like two projects. This is like Element and Ribbon, who has not both of them. I think Ribbon has a token right now. I'm not sure. Shirley told me Ribbon has a token, but in a way, it doesn't make sense to list projects which don't have a token because then there's no reward. And of course, one of the ideas about Element is that they do maybe an airdrop afterwards, but we don't know. So we will wait. I guess it's generally if a project doesn't have a token, it's difficult for us. So I guess we will wait till they have a token and then maybe integrate or they do some farming. And Lemma, I guess it's the same case. And according to Lemma, Tom will reach out to them and see how we can manage to integrate them or find a good solution. So we are going, Convex is the first one, I think, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Shirley, do you have any correction about this? I guess that next is the economic structure change.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Anything to add?
I think we should talk about this token economics first.
Yes, this is the next point.
Very important upgrade.
Yeah.
So I sent across a GitHub link. It's a technical document in Boule channels. And it will be great if people can take a look and give some comments. So at very high level, so what we are doing basically is we plan to take farmers' yields 100%. So right now we take 10% performance. So we plan to take that 100%. And in return, we give people a bit more in ALD. And also there's buyback terms when the circulated market cap goes below the treasury's value, right? So with this new economic model, basically we're building a marketplace where the professional farmers, provide yields on the projects the Boule curated, right? So for people who are not DeFi experts, right, they can just get exposure to an ever-growing ETF of prime DeFi assets by holding ALD, right? So basically, just ALD simplifies DeFi liquidity mining just by holding one token. And under this design, the Boule's curation capabilities become super important because basically we're trying to build the treasury holding, and the treasury holding eventually need to outperform the wealth accumulation, need to outperform, right, the inflation we print out there. And so I think this just basically we really going back to the narrative that we are building this DAO version of Berkshire Hathaway. So by holding this, by holding ALD, people just can get exposure to this ever-growing snowball, which represents the best of the best in DeFi. I think a lot of the DeFi projects, are going to this cash generative model and dividend distribution model. It's very security based. So with this new design, we're going to build a crypto native assets, which just represent the asset class, right? So people can get the best of DeFi just by holding it. That's very high level thinking behind the design. We'd love to get feedback from people, and so we are working on the details. And if we implement this, I think it takes about a month, and this will transform, how everything works on the platform as well.
Yeah, I think, I think it's a very good idea to go into this direction, because it's different from the old idea, and I guess, yeah, it's also a narrative to distribute and tell people what we're doing. I guess it's a good story, and I also think it's a good product.
Yeah, and
yeah, but somehow, yeah, we did have some feedback, and all people are now talking about this, and there's a working group. It's called working group, but in fact, it's just a channel on Discord, and people who are more interested in this discussion can join this, and different people now reading the tech document. Who did that? Is it like anonymous, or because because the gist is somehow, the person is not to be recognizable. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and so we plan to have a couple more features on top of this model.
Yes.
Part of this rewards, we meant going to give to the ALD stakers as well, and also as the treasury grow, so we can have like a mining difficulty schedule. So when the treasury is in the range of around millions, right? Maybe the reward rate is around 25%, right? And so when this treasury size grow into tens of millions, right, we can lower it to maybe 15%, right? When it moves even higher, right, to hundreds of millions, then we can go down to single digit, right? And then we can also offer projects, right, to buy and stake ALD, right, to basically to game around the reward rate offered on their votes.
Yeah, I think that's it. Or is there any feedback about this from somebody? Or I had the idea, and I don't know, I didn't get much feedback. It was like too short notice that we maybe start the call half an hour earlier to have, and then it's like free to join if for the Boule members, and then we can discuss stuff. But somehow I don't know if it's really a fit, because then it's like information is then not public, and everyone has not access to this. But I just got the information that the voting is up on the snapshot. So please, if you have time, maybe during the call, go and vote for the change of the voting, the way we vote. This is only for Boule members, to vote. Yeah, shall we move on to the presentations? I guess so.
Yeah, so we do have a channel for technical economics discussion. So people have any thoughts, please go there, and we can discuss there.
So for the voting, once if it passes, will that be executed immediately?
Yes.
Yeah.
And immediately up for the next vote. Yeah.
Okay.
The next project, 2 projects now we present for today, I guess.
I see. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's what you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just. Yeah. Okay.
All right, Martin,
so,
do you want to go first?
Yeah, maybe I go first, because I've been talking. So I present, I have to share my screen. I present the ledger. And sorry, just a second. Where's this present stuff? Yeah, do you see my screen?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thanks. So I did choose Spectre because of different reasons, and one reason is I don't want to offend anybody, but it's like a boring. I think it's quite a boring product. Maybe somehow it's not so we did see a lot of new stuff, and I was thinking I'd take a product who is like well known, a project who's some known, who has some stability, who has like a history, and it's I don't think you can make a lot of yields out of this, but somehow they have a good start. They had a good start. They are well. It's an interesting project. I did research. I didn't know it from a long time, and I did research it the last 2 days. And the way I will present it is how I did the research. So it's, and then maybe people also see how we or myself I do the research. So I didn't know much about Badger. I just have known that they have like this BTC things. It has been that the community has been around longer, and I heard, some people told me that they had like other ideas, but this was the idea that stick, and so they got into DeFi for Bitcoin. And basically, it's if you own Bitcoin and you want to use it as an asset who generates yield, then you originally you can't, on Bitcoin itself you can't. So you have to move it to Ethereum, and then you can use it on Ethereum. And Badger is concentrating on this market. So it's people owning Bitcoin who want to let it work somehow. So let's start. So the reason why I also picked Bitcoin, because I did see that they are very strong in convex. So one of their ideas is that they have pools on Curve with their product in it, and so they did see the upcoming convex, who is really going to change a lot of things. It might take, I guess, on the yield on Curve. So they have been very early and did see that they have to acquire somehow convex to incentivize their own pools. So I don't know, maybe they can generate just some decent yield in the future too, because they are early on convex, and convex has a cap of the token, so it's not token reward is going down. So this is why they are into convex. I did see that, and then now at the moment you can give them convex and in a pool, and they use it for voting on their own pools. This is just the start. I came into it. They have a pool with convex right now with 26 million worth of convex, and they use it. What you see here. Normally, if a new pool is listed on Curve, then the Curve holders have to vote if the pool gets some revenue or gets some curves, and so you go up for a vote and say we want to make an incentive pool, and convex Badger did that, and they will win. It looks like this vote. I think it's still ongoing. Yeah, actually. So, and you also see they have 1.15 million convex. They have delegated to them, and they vote their own pool in, and the pool is BTC. This is interest-paying BTC. That's one token they have been working on the last few days, month, I guess. Yeah, and so they are pretty, I think, a little bit ahead of the pack, because many projects don't see this clearly, because at the end a lot of yield is coming from Curve. So what's eBTC? eBTC is quite a complex product. I don't want to go into details, but in the background it uses technology has been made by DeFi Dollar, is it called? It's a project. I used it sometimes ago, maybe a year or half a year. It's some basket dollar somehow, but because it's also like a basket, they have a partnership with DeFi Dollar, and they are building this. So if I look at the project, you see, I go really fast forward. I did look who is Badger, and I did see they have very clear processes. They have over, I think they exist a year or so, and they have over 73 votes about different stuff, and they have a very clear process on doing votes, and they are well functioning DAO. So they are going multi-chain. They now are in Arbitrum too, and they're also in Polygon, but not so successful in Polygon than Arbitrum. They are very open and it's very well documented. Normally, I look at the code try to look at the code, and because Badger at the basic, it's not so easy to see. They have a different pools. They also have different pools, and it's not so easy to see which one you should use. But the reason is why, because you also can make a strategy for them. So they have like a yearn one style pool system where you can make strategies, and they have different strategies. I think maybe 20 different strategies. The product is somehow has some complexity, because if you want really get a lot of Badger out of it, you have to boost your Badger and go to have a higher multiplier. I don't know how we can manage this. We will see. Because in a way, if you hold, you should hold Badger and you should hold like BTC, and if it's like equal, you get the highest boost. They have a TVL. Yeah, it changed a bit. I guess one reason is because they have been very early in the DeFi and almost part of the DeFi. Some more, maybe. Yeah, I cut the data. We also see how much money they have now. They have like 26 million on Arbitrum, but most is on Ethereum. And it's all BTC. Mostly it's BTC. And you see the curve TVL, they lost a little bit, but I think there's much more. Yeah, there are much more products out there. So yeah, that's how it is. The team, it was coming out almost 1 year ago, and the team had a 1 year linear vested. So most of the token the team got either got sold, we don't know. But the thing is, the token, there's not a lot, there's no other tokens coming into the market. So from farming perspective, long-term farming perspective, I think it's interesting. The price is, yeah, you see the hype. It was quite high, but now it's like in the middle ground. And yeah, it's a DAO. They have a lot of proposals. I was told this. They have a product, and the product is it's having strategies on BTC pools, and they have a lot of pools. You see here one of the strategy. It's already, everything is very well documented. It's really awesome. It's just almost crazy. I did find all information, almost everything. It's very well documented. It's non-anon. I think that's good somehow, because you know who is in the background, and of course most of the well-known projects are not anon, but there are more and more fully anon projects which have a lot of influence or find a lot of traction. They have, and this is they don't have like a clear way to distribute token. They have flexible distribution, and they adjust it every quarter. So this is the schedule they made for the Q4. What I look also very much is how are they connected, and Badger is quite well connected. And I did find in the Discord is that they have talked to Scopy from Alchemix, asked them if they, with their voting power on Convex, can vote for them too. And I think this is quite important, is that projects are able to generate the network effect. Because it's easy to have, if you have a nice project or a nice product, that's one thing, but other things, how can you attract retail, and the other thing is how you can connect to other projects who can amplify your message or what you're doing. So I looked also into safety, a little bit in code safety. In this IB BTC, we may be going to use anyway. I looked into the the audit. It's done by QuantStamp, and if you look close to the audit, I don't know if it's a lack of QuantStamp is lacking here, or it's a little bit strange, because you see there's one high risk finding they found in the code, and then the response from the team is it's not a high risk. It's just it's how it should be. It's like it's normal, and it's the way it is like this, because we did split up the code. So it's like okay, but this is strange. I think it reflects a bit strange on QuantStamp, because in a way a team shouldn't tell something is high risk if it's like not. but they have only one high risk and the rest like medium risk, and they did change a few things on the feedback from the audit, but this is normal. The audit itself, yeah, that's overview of the audit. But I also check is, sometimes I did see you have in the audit you have a commit, and that there are projects they make an audit and then they change stuff, not only to incorporate the feedback from the audit, but they change other stuff too. They make an audit and then they add stuff and all these kind of things. And somehow I have the feeling it's risky and it's not the best standard. Of course it happens, and it also happened here. If you look at the commit and then the thing they deployed, I guess they added a few lines, but this is like, it's totally okay. Other projects added a lot of stuff after the audit. So the original audited code is not the code you see. So I guess this is totally fine. They have they're very documentation. If you look at the supply and the distribution, this is the amount of token who is out right now. And then I look at the supply distribution, how if there are people having a lot of token, they maybe can dump in an instant or this kind of stuff. And didn't find anything. This is all these address you see are from the either from the treasury or from the Badger. It's like from the Badger themselves or exchanges. I think the biggest single owner, maybe it's this 4%, but I don't know if it's really, it has 2 transactions out of Binance. Maybe it's somebody accumulating. So one person, 4% is the most I did see. They have a dashboard where you see the income, the revenue they have, now to the revenue. So I asked in Discord, so do you make reports? And they gave me, they make reports, they make quarterly reports. That's the report from the last quarter. And then you see how much expenses they have. They have like 203 million total expenses, half of it in USDC, the rest it's Badger their own token. And then they have also revenues, and I think the revenue matches the expenses almost. Yeah, it's even more. They had revenues from 2,070,000, and the expenses have been 2,003,000. So they earn money right now. They make money right now. And then the treasury holding, I think this is important if you look at the long-term outlook. And what's interesting there, they have a lot of their treasuries is in BTC or in BTC, some kind of BTC. And this means for me they have a high runaway, because in a way they don't have to sell the BTC. They can just take out stable coins and then go long BTC. Of course, they have a lot of Badger too, but yeah, that's their treasury. They need to work. So that's it. So what I don't know, and maybe I leave this to the technical team. So it's which kind of pool we will use. There are different ones, and maybe we talk to them if there's a positive vote. So I think it's a nice project. I guess it has a long-term outlook. It's here to stay. It's almost perfect DAO in my sense. It's really, it's I guess it's the first one I looked so deep and is really working DAOized in this level. Yeah, I think it has a nice community, and they also made some experimentation about different projects who maybe are not successful. They have one project who is like it's stable. No, how to say it? I missed the name. They have a clear product, BTC, and somehow I think if you change the economic model and we acquire a lot of other tokens, we can use the tokens to amplify our gains. And what I see there is that if we own Convex, so if the DAO owns Convex and can vote, we can incentivize our own projects. And somehow I think this is also a nice idea, or it's also good to change this, because if we have a treasury, we can manage our own projects and push our own projects with treasury. And in this case, we can vote for the pools too, or delegate it. And what you can do, you can take the Convex now. They give you Badger if you vote lock, if you delegate Convex to them. So we can take a treasury and put it to work. And Badger so fits well to Convex somehow. Yeah, they have a high runaway. There are some boring, maybe it's wrong term, but they don't give you 20 API. I don't know how much these on different pools. It's more around 5 or so. I guess it depends how successful they are on the pool on Curve. They have a clear market. Yeah, I think that's it from my side. Yeah, I don't know any question. I don't know if I covered like everything or if anyone knows the project quite well. Here.
We use it during the liquidity mining phase.
Yeah.
Are they still giving out rewards?
Yes. I think the plan is they're giving out rewards. They give out Badger like, I don't know, maybe 10% of the Badger yearly or something like this. But they don't have a clear, they're working on this. They don't have a clear, they manage it from quarter to quarter. It's different, that's different. They make a government issue out of this. And then they vote if they change stuff on their mission.
I guess how would you summarize their value accrual, and then any like estimate of what you think their total addressable market could be, or their market cap?
Of the
For Badger.
For Badger, I don't know. It's just that this is difficult. I think I think there's a main issue there, and this is mostly about the Bitcoin mindset. I guess I think this is it's limiting factors, because some of the Bitcoiners are anti-Ethereum, and some of the Bitcoiners, okay, they won't go to Ethereum with their Bitcoin, and others are quite risk averse, because Ethereum is, I guess it's a risky environment. If you're coming from BTC, who always tells you, we are the safest chain, it's just, it's an asset, it's like gold. The step giving you BTC, moving it to Ethereum is quite, I don't know how hard it is to go over this gap. I guess most of us did at some point, and many of us have their Ethereum, their Bitcoin on Ethereum. But I guess this is like, is this the question? You mean numbers?
Well, yeah, numbers for the market cap, but I wasn't sure exactly what that mechanism for their token value is.
Yeah, at the end, I think the mechanism is that they earn fees. Right now they earn quite some. They have an income somehow right now, and of course it's always the question: how do they subsidize their income with their token, and are they able to have a sustained product without the token at a certain time? I guess somehow, and. But because they have a lot of high runaway, I guess they have a good chance they come to a point where they have a product without the whole time incentivizing it.
I'm at a cafe, so it's kind of loud, but I put a comment in the chat. A question for
really.
Also, amazing presentation, Martin. Thank you so much for covering this protocol.
Thank you. I don't see. Let's just stop sharing. Okay, sorry. So. It's back. The question.
It's around the APYs that you'd be able to get on it right now, and if you can only do it with like BTC exposure, because like if markets move, like that could be potentially a downside if there's like more attractive market neutral strategies that we could take as a downside.
I can just check, you know, there are different pools, and the API is somehow just they telling you. So just a second. So if you vote log convex with them, they have a API from 23%, but this is only a more side channel. Then the API is it's a wide range on the page themselves. On True Crypto Day, it's 22% till 80% GGs. So the thing is, you have to, at some point, you have to lock up your Badger you earn to get the multiplier. And then you get more. This is the reason why they have ranges on the pools.
Yeah, that range, I mean, you can earn some really high yield if you lock up more Badger. So this was something, I don't think we talked about it as much, but I alluded to it about the Orion money market. I think it's something we're going to run into more often, and I am curious how easy or difficult it is to implement a farm like this where you might have to also then deposit another token to earn like a higher yield. I think from a standpoint of like providing the best farms, I'm not concerned that this makes this too complex for us to have folks participate. Like end of day, I think the dashboard eventually provides lots of different opportunities meant to appeal to a wide range of, you know, different assets that you hold, whether it's in this case something that's Bitcoin pegged or whether it's a stable coin. So yeah, what if we can find one here that I think if we can find one that's just been holding its holding up higher like yield numbers over the last several months, which the team at Badger probably could be helpful in identifying that. Like, which
yeah, I asked them in the chat. You know, you have so many pools. So if I just have one VPTC, which one should I use? And then there was no response somehow. I think they have not a problem, but they have like an issue with this, I guess, because you know, even myself, I did look at this the last 24 hours, and now I did more try to cover the background of the project, but I didn't see which one I should use, you know, right now.
Here's something else to consider, like assuming convex gets implemented. I think like there's some convex set vaults that, you know, I might eliminate just because it's like we're already providing exposure to, or we're providing a channel for someone to deposit into convex. So yeah, I think there's some killer opportunities here. I actually really like the wrapped BTC interest bearing, or it's a IBBTC sushi swap LP. That's a nice one because you're holding you know, I know most of us aren't worried about WBTC failing or depegging at this point, but you're 50% exposed to either of those. The IBBTC has been a really successful product, I think, for Badger.
Yeah, and I guess also that's a strategy to incentivize the pool. IBTC pools on Convex. I guess this is the on Curve. With the convex. I think this is the core strategy they have now, because then it's a simpler product somehow.
Another thing to consider there too is the number of, I think if you're in some of these pools, I believe like claiming those rewards, you know, you individually have to claim, if there's, let's say 4 different rewards, and let's assume one of them isn't like a sushi swap LP fee that's accruing to the LP position. That's just a lot of gas for someone to potentially spend. So, which is another reason maybe this WBTC, IBBTC, SLP makes sense, because it's only 2 different rewards, and one of those being X sushi, which is also another like yield accruing token. So yeah, these are the sorts of this is great, Martin. This is a really great presentation. I think I would love to see something from Badger show up on the dashboard.
Thanks, yeah. Cool. Yeah, so I guess because we're running out of time, we go to the presentation of Seed of Rari Capital. Seed, are you ready?
Yeah, I can go now. Thanks.
Cool. I'm looking forward to this one because it's the only project I lost money, in the e-tech of Rari. So I'm still waiting for getting something back. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we see.
Yeah, you see it? Okay, cool. So I'm going to be presenting Rari Capital. This is a project that I've been following for a while. We're actually holders of Rari RGT as part of Nascent. So we're supportive of the project long term. They've been through quite a long journey so far, iterating on the product and going through a number of different innovations. It's like a young team of software engineers, still in school, but like really talented engineers that are innovating at breakneck speed. So I'm excited to present this to you guys. Cool. So initially, you would probably think that Rari is just another yield aggregator. They used to be kind of in the red ocean, thinking about like what they were doing, like imagining that they were just a yield aggregator to start with, but they're much more. They're an open interest rate protocol. So they're building what is known as Fuse, which is like a place where people can create their own borrowing and lending pools, which is customizable. And the traction so far has been really good. Like they recently blew up to about $1 billion in TVL. And a lot of reasons for that are the yields are just like extremely high, like obviously. They added Ohm as an asset in one of the pools and two Fuse pools where people are like leveraging against their Ohm and borrowing against it. And third, there's just like permissionless pools being offered on the platform. So people can go and create their own money markets, and that's increasing the TVL. So before we decide on potentially integrating this, it's useful probably to look into the fundamentals. So let's walk through Fuse, their main product. So Fuse is, think of it as like a customizable money market. Think of it as like a Uniswap for lending. What it really does is like anyone can go create a money market with a list of assets to supply and borrow, and each individual pool has its own risk rating associated with it. So they do have like verified pools where people can go and create like their own money market, and accordingly, like there's like assets that can be supplied and borrowed under each different pool. So it's almost like a superset of Compound and Aave, if you can think of it that way. So it enables people to borrow and lend any asset. So you can go in there and effectively supply and borrow any asset under the specific pool. And the cool thing about this is that it targets the long tail of assets. With Compound and Aave, you have only a restricted amount of assets. It's permissioned, and like you have to go through governance to actually add different assets. With Rari, because it's permissionless, you can actually go and add any asset that you like and then borrow against it. So typically, like the risk is higher because like it's like mostly sort of like the long tail, but the reward is higher. And let's kind of like walk through this as an example. So the Olympus pool is like one of the like largest pools in the Rari platform. So you can actually supply staked Ohm and then you can borrow against it. So people are actually levering up. You probably have heard of the meme 99 or 33. So people are effectively leveraging their Ohm to purchase stables or buy more Ohm with it. But it's effectively a money market where people can use their Ohm to borrow stables against it. So this is one of the pools that has like $200 million in TVL. This is just like one pool out of like many other pools. So how does this all come together? There's like the yield aggregator vaults. So the USDC pool is effectively like a vault where what they do is they deploy part of the capital into the different fuse pools. And then they also have like mstable as like one of the different like venues to lend to. But effectively in aggregate, they're constantly rebalancing their capital around and putting capital through different places to earn the best yield possible. And historically, the vaults have been performing well. As Martin pointed out, they did have a hack on the ETH vault, which they don't have anymore, but they did recover from that. They effectively took the team's tokens and then they compensated the ETH vault sort of users, and partially they've been sort of like recovering and improving upon that hack. So they've had like multiple audits from CompStamp, and they're effectively like going at it from like the increased like exposure to different wallets possible. So the team is like just like making sure that the vaults are more secure over time. So this vault is an example where you can just deposit USDC and then you earn yield on top of it, and it's kind of like a set it and forget it. And the yield itself balances it by itself, and rebalances in the pool. So what can we do with Fuse and Rari? A simple one is like just integrating their USDC or DAI vaults. I know we touched upon this earlier that we probably don't want to do projects that don't have a yield farming token. So there isn't no liquidity mining yet for Rari. They used to have it in the early days when they started. That was only for 60 days, but they might come out with it soon to actually provide liquidity incentives for borrowing and supplying. So if they do that, it could be interesting for us to look into. But the plain yields themselves are already attractive enough where, we could consider putting it into like DAI or USDC, because like you're earning like an average of like 20 to 25%, which is really attractive yields. So that's kind of it. It's a short presentation, but I'd be happy to take questions.
So, say, what's the difference between Rari and Beta Finance? Beta is doing something similar, right?
Which one?
Beta Finance.
I'm not sure of the project, but
Beta,
I think like
Beta
I
Finance
think the
Alpha.
biggest difference is that Rari has the fuse pools, which is like individual like pools, like individual money markets. So they lend their assets to their own money markets instead of like going to Compound or Aave or other protocols. So before they used to do that where they were lending to Compound and Aave, but now they're lending to their own pools where the yield is generated from their own money markets. That's the big difference.
So if Aladdin DAO integrates them, you think it would work if we take the interest income from USDC and DAI, and so we, under the new economic model, and we return users with more in ALD. Do you think that would work?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like that's like a strong incentive if we're able to like just do a simple like USDC DAI yield. Like it's like the most basic stable coin like deposit vaults, and then we can like add ALD incentives on top of it. I mean, ideally, like there's liquidity mining that can be done for the Rari pools themselves. But even without the liquidity incentives, they're able to generate like 25% or 20% yields, which is like really attractive. So, you might as well just do that, and that's good enough. And, you could add ALD incentives on top of it to create the additional boost.
Well, I think that's why we need feedback from Boule members on the new economic model, right? Because that changes how things work. And the question will become, right, do we want to include, the assets we're taking from this, protocol and farmers in Aladdin DAO holding, right? Are we confident, to hold this, for next, at least 12 months, right? Would that outperform, DeFi in general, right? Of course, we need, some diversification, right? We should have some, stable coin income there as well, right? It should be a basket, of all the, good assets, core assets. So I think, this will, moving forward, right, for every project, like Boule member present, right, if we think about, right, and how to integrate with Aladdin DAO, right, is this the asset we want to include in the holding, right, at least for next 12 months? Are we going to, the portfolio we have, are we going to, outperform, DeFi sector in general, right, for next 12 to 24 months?
Yeah, and I think we have to be risk averse too, right? I mean, the same point, like we want to be generating long-term yields. That's why something like Rari is interesting, because it's a yield aggregator, and like it's sort of like the goal of it is to generate the maximum yield possible in the most efficient way, and that's kind of like what we want to see, and that's what we desire. Whereas with some other projects, we might have like short-term liquidity incentives, which might not be more long-term tenable. So looking into the average yields the project generates is probably like a good sign for looking into integrations generally. Any other questions for me on Rari?
No, super interesting. Yeah, been quietly watched them for quite a while, and been excited to see them really seem to finally get respect from like the grander DeFi landscape. So yeah, just a killer team that recovered from a hack quite a while ago. But yeah, love the presentation. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
I have
thank you.
one question. So you get the Raris right now on top. If you use the pools, you can farm Raris right now. It's just a silly question, maybe.
No, so right now, like if you use the pools, you can't get the token. Like they already distributed the token in the early days. So
okay.
They do have like 99% of RGT in the treasury, which they could use for liquidity mining incentives down the road. But right now in the current iteration, there's no RGT being given out as inflationary rewards for depositing. Yeah, so if we were to support it, it would just be like a plain integration into the yield aggregator.
Okay.
So how's the Rari distributed in the first place? All investors' tokens?
So it was distributed to people that were depositing into the vaults in the early days. So the first 60 days, like if you were in the pools, if you were like lending to the yield aggregator, you were earning the token.
Ah, I see. But later on, they kind of suspended.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
They didn't
Thanks.
pay out the hack. That's the only hack I really lost a serious amount of money. And last time I checked, there was the plan to pay people back on the stablecoin price on the dollar price of ETH. Yeah. But they didn't. They have discussed give out Rari. I would like to have Rari for this, but they didn't do it. So I went to the forum like 2 months ago to see what's going on, but I guess they have to manage this at some point somehow. But it's not I don't know if it's, I would accept that, if it's just present ETH price in dollar value, okay, that's it. But it's not that they fixed this. They didn't fix it, and they maybe have at some point. But I don't think it's so expensive they can afford this, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend on like how much they're going to accumulate in the treasury, where they have a proposal to.
There's not a lot of information. It's interesting that some of the hacks they just maybe I won't get anything. It's just it's DeFi.
How much? Wait, can you remind me, Martin or Sid? Do you remember how much money was lost in that hack in total?
10 million.
10 million, yeah. Because
yeah.
I I was in EasyFi when it got hacked, and I lost an amount of money I was able to walk away from quickly, but obviously it's it's upsetting and annoying, and they did end up giving everyone this new token, which was just like, it's just a new version of their governance token. And I have been amazed with staking rewards. I actually, most people I know that lost money ended up with more, but it's taken like 6 to 9 months. So anyways, I'm going off topic.
But somehow, maybe the break, I guess the story with Rari was at this point, this was either break, there was to break, they said the team told everyone, okay, we pay you with Raris for this. And then there would have been no Raris left for the team. And I also think as a investor or not even, have Raris too. It's stupid to kill the project to pay back some debt somehow. But anyway, maybe it's really not a discussion.
Yeah. So they've been just operating.
Do they have a multi-chain? Do they have a multi-chain strategy or?
Yeah, they do. So they're going to be deploying on like Arbitrum, Optimism, and they have like a sub partnership with someone called Market that's going to be deploying on Polygon. So they do have a multi-chain strategy to be on different L2s. Yeah.
So if it's self-listing, but now not a lot of pools are created, I guess, right now on mainnet.
There's about like, I think 10 verified pools, but on the permissionless side, there's a lot more. I think like 20 to 30. The interesting thing is like, think of it as like a Uniswap for lending. Anyone can come create a pool and you can like list your own assets in the pool, which is powerful. Yeah.
I see they have like risk ratings for the pools. Does that, like affect the depositor for stablecoins? Because like USDC, I guess you said they constantly rebalanced between different pools. Is that gonna like affect, I don't know, like because of liquidity during like price plunge, so cause the things that happen in banners. I don't know if that's gonna happen or not, because everybody is gonna list shit tokens and borrow probably USDC, but there's no enough liquidity, so there will be a deficit sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah, that is certainly a risk, but like the reserve factors are lower. The reserve factors in LTV for borrowing against more long tail assets are like lower. So I mean, the risk there would be lower. But they're coming out with updated vaults soon to put it in more safer pools in Fuse. Yeah. So I don't know what the roadmap for that is or the timeline, but that should be coming soon.
Yeah, I think actually the problem is fewer people know about Rari Fuse still. I'm amazed how many, if you look at the pools, there's only so many there that have folks, lending so that others can actually borrow. And there's a number of pools I'd love to see with folks lending in them so you could borrow. But anyways, that is why this is a really interesting opportunity, but definitely some complex issues to weigh with. I hate to see a team penalized forever over like an exploit, but I definitely think there's some like serious considerations there because there is still like a certain debt that hasn't been paid out. And I'm saying that with, being like a fan of the project and a very like vocal advocate of what they've built with Rari Fuse. So yeah, I'm really.
You mean debt technically or real money they have to pay for the hack?
Well,
I don't think they, if you look at the other one, Harvest have been hacked, they invented like Grain, but Grain is nothing. Then
and I think you've seen the impact on that project, whereas like Rari has since they've grown So, yeah, they've grown substantially and become I think a very respected name. I mean, I remember when they were like under 10 million, like, I was like, are these guys going to survive? They're like a yield bouncer for like stable coins. So yeah, no, I think, I actually would love to have an AMA with them in Discord. Like this could be like even the larger Aladdin community could participate, but yeah, there might some of those questions, if they were to be answered, definitely would sway me in terms of voting either way.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. I have to hop to another meeting.
Yeah, that's fine. I guess this is the end anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining and presenting this. It's always also for people who know the project. Also, it's nice to see all the aspects of an old project. I had some connection past or so. And yeah, we're going to vote next Monday, I guess, starting. And please vote on the vote change. Maybe do it right now if you still have some time. You can go to Snapshot and vote yes or no if you have any objection, but maybe then we should discuss it. Or just vote no. That's your right. So have a nice day. Thank you for joining. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you guys.
Martin. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Cheers. I'm looking the way out. Damn. I'll leave. Bye.